person who's been on keto and is not hangry or angry all the time.
The first thing that people start with when they, control their diet and have an ambition to lose weight and have higher proteins is to not eat rotis.
Wheat is so much demonized.
Every plate comes up with questions कि कितना carbs है, कितना calorie है, कितना ghee है. So what has changed now? Like is the mindset changed? Is the environment changed? What has changed now?
What has gone wrong, Hemanshi, is that we've stopped looking at food as nourishment and we now look at our plates and our diet more like a spreadsheet. There is just such a lot of information overload. As a nutritionist, I get confused at times. There are reels that I watch and I'm like, is she right? Maybe she is. And then I'm like, no. Then my rational brain kicks in and I'm like, no. My 30 plus years of experience tells me that this is half the story. Stop trying to count everything. It's the quality of calories which matters, not the quantity of calories.
A very warm welcome to another episode of the Healthy Podcast. I'm Hemanshi Tewari, and in this episode we are going to talk about food. Food used to be simple, ghar ka khana, seasonal, familiar, but now it's protein powders, gut health, drinks, millet chips, sugar-free, everything. And somehow we're still not sure what's actually healthy. So what has changed? Did our food evolve? Or did our confusion just get better marketed? Today we are decoding this noise not with trends but with clarity. Well, Kavita, thank you so much for joining us for the podcast. How are you doing today?
Very good. Totally my pleasure, Hemanshi.
All right, great. Excited to start this conversation on nutrition, on weight loss. And because of these words, we are so overwhelmed every day, a lot of noise. We have a lot of information now about everything. And it's great to have you here to decode everything. Let's start with the most basic question first. Growing up, most of us didn't think about what's on a plate. घर का खाना था जो बना खा लिया, जो मम्मी ने दे दिया खा लिया. But now everything, like every plate comes up with questions कि कितना carbs है, कितना calorie है, कितना ghee है. So what has changed now? Is the mindset changed? Is the environment changed? What has changed now?
Lot. Lot has changed. Food has become complicated, So actually what has happened and what has gone wrong, Hemanshi, is that we've stopped looking at food as nourishment and we now look at our plates and our diet more like a spreadsheet. Macros, proteins, timings. We've confused it, we've complicated it. That is not required. That is one problem. The second problem is that there is just such a lot of information overload. As a nutritionist, I get confused at times. There are reels that I watch and I'm like, is she right? Maybe she is. And then I'm like, no. Then my rational brain kicks in and I'm like, no. My 30 plus years of experience tells me that this is half the story. Even if it's not blatantly wrong, it is half the story. So the information overload is clouding our brains. That is the second problem. The third problem is that also because, let me just say it right at the outset, because of the over availability of ultra processed foods that are hyper palatable, that has completely overridden our body's natural responses
and
to
well
food.
Packaged as well.
Yes. So our body's mind natural response of looking at food and letting the gut decide whether it is good for us or not has been completely overridden. So the demons are way too many. So I do not blame the consumer because, like I said, we are cooked. The pressures are way too much. That is why the confusion is there. It's not the food which is confusing. It's the information overload which is confusing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because food, is something very instinctive, right? And now it has become so confusing on what to eat, what not to eat, following every other influencer for that matter, or following, for example, if my colleague, I meet her after 3 months and I see her very lean, and I'll try and ask like what diet is she following, right? And I'll try to replicate that diet as well. But I don't know, in my mind I know what works for her might not work for me, but eventually I'll follow that. It's so confusing.
You'll follow it to give it up.
Yeah.
You will not follow it completely, right? See, the problem is, I'll tell you where again we went wrong. Earlier, the information would come from culture, from tradition, from family, and also people would listen to their own body and eat according to that, eat according to their palate, their culture, also their routine. Then suddenly we stopped listening to tradition and we started listening to marketers, brands, the social media noise, and also trends. What is trendy became more important than what is good for us.
And what's aesthetic became more important for us.
100%. So that confusion, it's like a whirlpool, people are stuck in it. People realize at the back of the mind that probably what they're doing is not right, but they're not able to get out of it. 100% I'm telling you, everyone has that small voice at the back of the mind telling them that should you be following this new trend today, while they also know that tomorrow there'll be a new trend. What is trendy today, I'm sure will not be trendy, take a bet from me, tomorrow evening. So people know that, but it's like a cycle, because the information is so much coming from everywhere. And then there's FOMO, fear of missing out. Problem is that as long as you keep the FOMO to other aspects of your life, it's still not that harmful. But when you bring it to food and your body and your health, you're experimenting on yourself, right? Research is done on mice first, but we unfortunately put everything that we hear on our body.
Yeah, and there's a lot of accessibility to information. Exactly what are we doing now, because now we have ChatGPT. We no longer need anyone. We can just put on ChatGPT and the app gives us the complete diet for us. We won't look at like, is it going to work for us or not? Is it good for us or not? We just believe the app blindly. And we are trusting where the trust shouldn't come like that. There should be some accountability, and we know that there's no accountability at the end of the day, but we still tend to believe. Do you have any such people coming to you believing these apps?
Yeah, earlier, I'll tell you, Hemanshi, about like 10 years back, all the doctor friends, they would mention that, patients come to us with a clear mindset that, doctor, mujhe ye bimari hai. Because Google has told them that this symptom means this lifestyle disease, right? So, ab aap isko treat kar do. So I used to really laugh. Like, really, doc? Does that happen? Are they so convinced? And they used to like say, I'm telling you, Kavita, that these are the problems of today's times and this is what we're facing as doctors. But I was like, okay, little did I know that soon we'll be in this very same boat. So today, people come to us saying that, one, of course, I have this deficiency, doctor, for sure. Give me this supplement. They just come to us for reaffirmation, right? Or they would say that this is the diet that I want to follow because my friend has followed this. Can you make it for me? Chalo, you can still counsel them and tell them, every second day you'll have a person saying, I want to go on keto or I want to do intermittent diet or something like that. So you can still counsel them and tell them whether it will work for your lifestyle, your body type or not, or let me use it as a tool for you later. First, let me fix your gut or whatever I need to do with that person. The problem is that I would probably give them a diet with a certain perspective, but they have 10 apps trying to track that diet and getting confused. Most of the time is wasted in just trying to explain these things to them. And this happens every single day. But there are ways to explain. That is why, see, unfortunately, doctors don't really have that kind of time to spend with the patients. But as a practitioner, fortunately, I have that kind of time. I have my minimum consult is from 30 minutes to 45 minutes every time. So I do have that bandwidth to explain to them. But someone who doesn't have the bandwidth would just say, okay, go ahead, do what you want to.
No, absolutely. Of course. And there's a lot of obsession, if I say. There are a few keywords. For example, calorie deficit, calorie counting. Everyone counts calories through AI. They'll tell AI that I'm eating this, and our AI is counting calories for them. With the AI doesn't know how did you cook this food, right? So the AI is going to count the calories, and then millets, right? Dadi Nani ne bola tha millets khate hain, so everyone eats millets daily. And I remember seeing one of your reels where you said that maybe millets are nice for us, but it doesn't mean that we should eat them regularly, or maybe the way of having them, is different. Ghee, for that matter, there's a lot of chatter around ghee, for example. It's a good fat, right? But a lot of people do not believe that. They won't put ghee on their rotis or on their sabjis because, you know, that will make them fat probably. Rice. I remember my mother telling me, don't eat rice or roti together, then you will gain fat. Either eat rice or eat roti, and don't eat rice too much. That's one of the things. So what do you say about all these things? These things make you laugh, or these things make you think about?
No. I totally don't laugh at all. I totally get where they're coming from. The fact is, I'll tell you what has happened. Let's just go a little deeper, then I'll tackle each one of them for you, because that's what I do on my social media also. If you must have seen, I pick up these foods which are demonized, poor foods, and try to bring them back in the consciousness of people. See, what happened is that when brands are going to hate me for this. I consult with a lot of them as well. But what happened is that when you have to sell something, you have to make the other thing, which is the mainstay, sound boring and unhealthy. So when a lot of these so-called healthy packaged foods started coming in the market, their main job of the marketers was to make their products sound really good, a halo around them. But to make sure that they sell, they had to ensure, because they have to fill the space where there is already something present, home cooked food. So they had to make that sound boring and unhealthy for you. And that's when the balanced Indian thali became unhealthy for us. It's not that the thali was wrong for us. It was misunderstood, and it was also out-marketed, if I can use that word, right? So this is where the problem started. To make this sound healthy, this was made to sound unhealthy, right? And then came the era of these catchphrases, which you're mentioning, you know. To sell something, the easiest way to catch someone's attention in the 50-second, or even, in fact, now I've been told only 20 seconds reels work, you know, that kind of thing. You need catchphrases, you need the hooks, right? So 2 words phrases like millets are superstars, or calorie deficit is the way to go, or protein power. Protein power is something that everyone is using, right, on labels, everywhere. So then came the phase of this word play. Marketers were doing their job, it's their job. But what has happened is that they've been taken literally by the consumer. So now somebody would say that calorie deficit is the only way to go. That has, you know, brought about this entirely new industry of the apps, vertical tangent. They jumped onto the bandwagon, right? Let's talk about calorie deficit first. Calorie science is an extremely vague science, very vague. It's mentioned in my book, which came like in 2019. So it's nothing new that I'm talking about today. I've been saying this from day one. It's mentioned in the Don't Diet Plan book. Calories are very, very overrated. The food that you are eating, the same food, and I am eating, 2 different people are eating, how many calories my body will get out of that food will differ from how many calories your body will draw out of it, because that depends on a lot of factors. It depends on the state of your gut, it depends on your hormones. So it's very vague. It's just an indicator. So if a particular food has 100 grams has like maybe 100 calories, that's an indicator. It could be 50, it could be 200. So when something is so vague, how can you keep that as the mainstay of your diet? I have been crying myself hoarse talking about this, that forget calories. I mean, you do need a framework. You can't eat 3,500. But whether you eat 1,500 or you eat 1,700 doesn't make a difference.
Yeah, and I hope my husband and brother watches this.
I hope everyone watches this and I need to really I keep saying this all the time. Calories are just an indicator, one tool out of 100 that you use to make a person healthy. I won't even say lose weight. Lose weight, of course, but other parameters also. So calorie deficit there are multiple ways of figuring out how many calories you require on a daily basis, and multiple ways of expanding those calories. Just food alone is not the only factor that matters, right? So getting obsessed about calories is a big no, is what I always tell people. It's the quality of calories which matters, not the quantity of calories, you know. I have this entire chapter where I've put my heart out to try and explain, but whoever reads it gets it, right? So because it's very difficult to explain this in a 50-second reel, you have to understand, you know, and especially when people have already made up their mind about calories. It's like decades of conditioning, trying to break that. Then the second thing is about the millets that you mentioned. Again, I'm trying to go against the grain when everyone is crying hoarse, saying eat millets, eat millets. Please go ahead. They are a great grain. They are a great set of grains. very good for us. But we do not want to make the same mistake with millets that we made with wheat. When you overdo something, that's when things start going wrong. So millets are not a replacement. Millets are just an option. So they're good for you, but have them in balance. That is what I keep trying to tell everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. And also the ghee.
Yes, let's talk
We have demonized ghee a lot.
Thankfully now, you know, we oscillate between demonizing ghee or, you know, doing its puja. You know, that it's the best thing in the world.
Yeah, yeah. It depends on the trend. For example, if one celebrity will tell today that, you know, don't eat ghee, everyone will stop eating ghee, and then one comes in and say, I do ghee pulling in the morning, and then everyone starts
So you'll have one reel with a million views on either side, good or bad, and you'll have like 100 people with influence jumping on that bandwagon, right? They have entire teams trying to figure out these trends. So my take on ghee is very clear. It's really good for us, really good for us, okay? But it's the portion that makes the poison for every single food. Ghee is good for us in moderation because it's a fat. So you do need ghee every day. So those who are not eating it need to include it in their diet. Those who are overdoing it need to cut down.
But how do we know how much ghee to eat?
For that, you need to understand that there's a certain amount of good fat that you need to have every day in your diet, right? Now, that good fat needs to come from a variety of sources. Ghee is one of those. Then you also need some unsaturated fats, right? PUFA and MUFAs, right? Then you have to make sure that you basically do a combination of these to ensure that your entire day's requirement is met. You need about 3 to 4 teaspoons total of visible fat in a day. You could exceed it to 4 in a day or 5 in a day, or go down, maybe do a slightly lower fat day and go down to 1 or 2 teaspoons in a day. But if you keep a ballpark of 3, you'll be fine, you'll be safe. You have to fit in your ghee in that, and you have to fit in the rest of the cooking oil that you're using to cook your food in this. That is how it works, which is why it's not such a great idea, the coffee ghee thing, right? You have a cup in the morning with a big tablespoon of ghee. I'm okay with that, I don't mind. But then that means that you have to cut off ghee and other oils from the rest of your day's diet. You cannot continue to eat fried foods through the day and hope that that cup of coffee with ghee will help you. Everything has to be in balance.
But you know, we have been cooking food with so much oil for so long now. Sarson ka tel, we use, you know, Indian households use a lot of mustard oil. Olive oil is the new introduction in the market. Now people have started using olive oil instead of mustard oil. I have started using olive oil myself, but without understanding like how much to use, and is it a good substitute or not? You tell me about it.
I have a very straightforward principle for everything, okay? This applies to fruits and veg. हमारे दादे नानी क्या बोलते थे? Try and eat all kinds of fruits, right? Try and eat हर सब्जी खाओ. क्या principle है उसके पीछे? Rotation, right? You do variety, you get the benefit of everything. You stick to 1 or 2 foods, you get the benefit of only those 2 foods, right? So that applies for fruits, that applies for vegetables, that applies for grains, what I just mentioned. In that, you eat everything. You eat wheat, you eat rice, you eat millets, you eat quinoa. You want to try any exotic grain, you do that. Do it by rotation. That applies to proteins. Try and do different kinds of proteins. That same rule applies to oil. You rotate and have. So there are few rules that I teach all my clients. 1, never buy big bottles of oils. Always buy smaller bottles of oil so that you can, one, you'll use less. When you try to pour from a 5-liter bottle, you will end up pouring more. When you pour from a smaller bottle, so it's automatic portion control. That is 1. Second, it's easier to rotate oils because you've maybe bought a different oil for this month. Next month you can change it, or after a couple of months you can change it. That is one way of rotation. Other way of rotation is that in a day you would probably be cooking dal, you'd probably be cooking some sabzi, you might be doing a salad, or you'll be doing like an egg or something, right? So you can split how you use oils through the day. The ghee can go on your roti or in your dal ka tadka, simple. You can cook your veggies with your mustard oil or the coconut oil, depending on what works for your body and which part of the country you live in. You can use your olive oil or sesame oil or any other avocado, whichever, cold pressed oil for your salads or your quick stir fries. So you spread your oil intake like this, you do automatic oil portion control, and you get the benefit of different kinds of oils. Stay away from refined. We're already doing too much processed. So when we have an option of being able to choose a better oil for us, then preferably stay away from, if you want to focus on one area, maybe try and stay away from refined. Stick to cold pressed oils as much as possible.
All right. So when we talk about real food, the healthy food that we're talking about, what does that look like on an Indian plate today? Because you know, now even dal chawal is questioned, right? You said dal tadka, even that is questioned right now. So like, what should be on our Indian plate?
So I think if you're really confused, I would like to tell the viewers, please do go on my Insta, because I have tried to decode all of these there. I have a reel on dal chawal also. I have reels on rice, because I have just tried to explain to people that no food is bad for us. Okay. So the question was, what food is
good for us
good
on
for
an
us
Indian plate?
On an Indian plate. Simple, familiar, home cooked as much as possible, food that you can eat consistently, minimal ingredients, minimal processing, and maximum nutrition.
Khichdi?
Anything simple, the everyday foods that we see: dal, chawal, roti, millets, khichdi, dahi, nut, dairy products. All of these are natural foods. You just need to make sure, see, the thali is not wrong. It just needs to be adapted to our needs today. So wherever we are going wrong there, it needs to be corrected. So this is a simple basic food that every Indian plate.
So now, while we are talking about real foods versus marketed foods now, let's understand, like, how did we reach to this point where, you know, traditional Indian foods started losing their credibility to packaged healthy foods? Because now even I go to supermarkets, there's a special aisle for the packaged healthy foods, and the traditional Indian foods that we are born with, that we grew up with, they have somehow lost their credibility.
What I just said, the point is that the traditional Indian food has been out-marketed because they did not have a marketing budget. A balanced thali does not have a marketing budget behind it, trying to push it. It doesn't sell if you try to do a reel on it, or it doesn't have that kind of reach out there. So how they lost out was when, see, we are humans, we all chase convenience. So if you can package convenience and make it sound healthy, people would go for it, right? No one has the bandwidth, a common person, not you, not maybe me because that's my profession, to actually decode nutrition. They just look at what the product is signaling. So if a product is signaling that it's healthy, front of the pack it says something which is good sounding to them, which is why today the packaging is not about selling reality, na? It's about selling reassurances. It's reassuring people, consumers, that this is healthy for you. Hardly anybody goes into the detailed, who has the time? Who has the time? So they would trust, they would get the benefit of doubt there. Basically, the mindset has been completely hijacked. It's not a bad thing, because the point is we have to chase convenience. Everyone has to, because these are the times we're living in. But I just feel that here the brands have an opportunity, but at the same time a responsibility.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, like we are talking, trends keep changing every day. Perhaps now, you know, after this conversation, we know that nutrition isn't evolving. Nutrition is there, and we've been talking about it for so long now, but the market is evolving, right? And that's perhaps the difference. Now, before we move on to different parts of this conversation, Kavita, let's quickly have a few quick takes from you. Tell me instinctively, helpful, harmful, or misunderstood?
Okay.
All right. Intermittent fasting.
Helpful, but unfortunately used wrong always.
All right, we'll talk about that then. Keto.
Often harmful.
Plant-based alternatives.
They are very helpful, but they need to be understood better.
So they are misunderstood. All right. High protein everything.
Both, you know, actually all three. So most definitely there is a protein gap. Should we tackle this first?
Yeah, let's talk about this.
Definitely there's a protein gap, especially amongst the children and, you know, women in particular, and also increasingly I'm seeing elderly, right? So It is required. It is definitely required today. It's the need of the hour. So like I always say, I'm very grateful to brands who are doing this education. At least they're bringing that. Now everyone is talking about protein, you know, so which is a good thing. But the problem is, where it is being harmful is that no one is doing the education. People are just selling trends. Protein has become a trend. So everyone is trying to ride that trend with a new product. So it could, high protein could also mean ultra processed. People need to understand that. High protein could also be harmful to you because of the other aspects of that food, which is negating or probably doing harm. Negating the good and probably doing harm. So education is good. But just trying to ride on that trend and using it for your advantage and misinforming, that could be wrong.
So protein powders, where do you keep them in the category?
Protein powder, see, protein is, I have a very clear take on that, which I have mentioned over and over again. Protein intake can be managed very easily with your diet, with home cooked food, for most people. But there is a category of people who do not have the time or who do not want to do it. I don't like those people, but agreed, we have those kind of people who do not want to put in that effort, or who are deficient in it, or who have absorption issues. There, protein supplements definitely are helpful, but again, not as a mainstay, again to fill a gap for a certain period of time. You bring a person up to optimum, let the person go back to the food habits. Unless of course you're an athlete, those are different
Doing
categories of people.
Because I've seen a lot of people doing gym, they are having protein powders, creatine, a lot of things out there.
No, you know, per se they're not bad. Per se, the supplement, the word supplement means you're supposed to supplement with it, not make it your mainstay. People need to just understand this. It's a supplement.
It's a side food, not your main food.
Yeah, and only if you really need it. And by gym, I need people to understand, not everyone who goes to the gym needs extra protein. What are you doing in the gym? Everything matters, right? Are you spending 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the evening in the gym? Then your muscles, you know, need that kind of repair, so you need extra protein, and because then your body can burn off that extra protein. People need to understand extra protein, which your body is not using, is only getting converted into fat and getting deposited in the body. So what is the point? It's expensive supplement that you're probably having to gain weight, unless you're exercising that much, right? So creatine, again, it's a very good supplement, no harm in that, but not everyone is a candidate for it. I am a huge fan of it for the brain focus. So for menopausal women, stuff like that, enough research that tells us. But if you're just exercising a bit every day, then, and if you're way too young, then probably you might not need it. And then can I please add here, whatever supplement you might be going for, whether it is protein supplement or a micro supplement, micronutrient supplement, please do your due diligence. Most of the protein powders out there are definitely not worth it. You need to be very sure what you're having is actually doing good to you, more than, you know,
So
it's
what
not just
points
the protein
do we
alone.
keep in mind while checking?
They have to be lab tested, third party tested. They have to not have, for me it is non-negotiable, not have a sweetener which is not good for us. I have a very clear line on that, some people don't. I'm very anti artificial sweeteners. So for me, any even if it is third party tested, but if it has an artificial sweetener, I would suggest that you don't go for it, because the idea is to keep the chemicals as low as possible. You're already going in for a defined product, protein supplement, which you probably require maybe, but why should you then go for something that has so many extra additives in it that your body does not require? So read labels, do your research, ask experts, and then choose a supplement.
Plant-based proteins, what about that? Is it a good alternative?
Yeah, of course. If whey doesn't work for you, yes, definitely. There are a lot of people who can't handle too much of whey. So then plant protein is fine. It's an alternative, right? So you need to figure out what works for your body.
So while we are talking about protein, and it has become a hero suddenly in the market, let's also talk about a vegetarian protein diet without supplements. How does it look like?
Most people require between 0.8 grams to 1.25 grams of protein per kg of ideal body weight, which is completely doable, which would look like, say, if you're 50 kgs, you would require probably about 40 to 60 grams of protein, depending on your level of activity, right? Unless the figures of 2 grams per kg body weight is only for athletes, marathoners, sports people. Do not get confused. You are not that person. You know, you need between 0.8 to 1.2 grams of protein. 40 to 60 grams of protein. Even if you're 70 kilos, maybe 60 to 80 grams of protein. Take it up to 90, take it up to 100 grams, if depending on your weight, right? Very easily doable. Let's not even get to, I tell people, keep your life as uncomplicated as possible. Stop trying to count everything. Calories, I've already told you, doesn't matter. You do not need to count calories, they only give you stress, right? Protein again, don't get obsessed about trying to measure protein in every food. There is a simple formula that I use with my clients to basis their requirement. I'm telling you this minus supplements because I rarely give supplements. I give it only if it is required, right? We have 3 main meals in a day. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, most people. We'll talk about intermittent later, but most people would have 3 meals in a day and maybe a snack or 2. Easiest way to ensure that you're having enough protein every day is to make sure that you have one protein source, good protein source, vegetarian, non-vegetarian, totally your call, in every meal. So you do like 3 major protein sources, add 1 extra protein source to one of the meals, maybe lunch, because that can be a heavier meal. So that could have curd and dal together, maybe, and paneer and maybe dal together, something like that. I'm just giving an example, or soya, you know, stuff like, or edamame if you're a little adventurous, and do 1 protein snack in a day. So that brings us to 5 protein intakes in a day, 1, 2, 3, plus 1, 4, plus 1, 5. If you do that, and if you just do regular portions, you will meet your protein requirement. It's very simple. Supposing a person needs a little extra protein, I would probably make that person's snack a higher protein, much higher protein one, maybe like 20-25 grams of snack, kind of a thing, to add on extra 10 grams there. Or I will make that person's both the snacks protein. So you play with food like that, and which is very easy to do. Protein powders are convenient, I agree with you. So if a person insists, I would put that in, but then I would make sure that, you know, we adjust the rest of the diet accordingly. And when it comes to vegetarian protein, agreed, the quality is not as good as non-vegetarian protein. By quality, I mean the essential amino acids. It's not about quality per se. 9 essential amino acids, non-veg food has all of them. Vegetarian proteins usually are lacking in 1 or 2, like, you know, there could be something missing in rice, something missing in wheat, something missing in something, but still there are enough, like tofu, you know, all these foods, edamame, these are all complete protein. Amaranth, not many people know is a grain, and quinoa, which, I mean, these give us very good quality protein. So you have to focus not just on the protein per se. Everything gives us protein, by the way, even wheat gives us protein. So you have to make sure that you include foods that are per se higher in protein in your daily diet. You make a list of those foods, put that on your fridge, and you make sure that you eat like 7 out of those 15 foods every day, or 5 out of those 15 foods every day, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, because, you know, generally the first thing that people start with when they, you know, control their diet and have an ambition to lose weight and have higher proteins is to not eat rotis, right? Just stop eating rotis. And now you just said that wheat also has
everything has
protein.
Everything gives you protein, right? Some give more, some give less, right? No food has just one nutrient in isolation. Wheat is so much demonized. I'm a huge carb fan. You know, I don't believe, show me a person who's been on keto and is not hangry or angry all the time. It's as straightforward as that. You need carbs, not just for the energy, you also need carbs to make sure that the protein, the serotonin, actually reaches your brain and keeps your mood up.
Yeah, that's a mental relationship we have with the food.
No one is working on that.
Yeah, and because of this over-disciplining, I guess, we are losing that relationship with food. Because I remember in India, like when we used to be very young, we used to be very deeply, you know, emotional when it comes to food. Family, festivals, comfort, everything was food for us. If someone is coming to our home, it's food. Like my mom is going to cook good food today. It's festivals, we're going to have these things in festivals. So everything for us Indian people is related to food, and now a lot of things have been demonized. I mean, what to eat at the end of the day is a big question.
You know, actually what went wrong was that we let go of a whole lot of these good habits that we were following earlier, you know. My second book, Ultimate Grandmother Hacks, was about this only. The good habits that we were following without even thinking about it. They were not doing research. These were just common sense principles that they were observing and realizing that they're working, right? So, like what you just mentioned, I want to take that a little forward. Good times were associated with good food. But then you need to understand that at that time, kheer was not made every day. Kheer was made on special occasions. So, dessert was associated with special occasions. So, automatic portion control was happening. It was not like today that you just pick up, you know, one of the apps and quickly order an ice cream right away. Which is processed, which is again another
now
problem.
It's coming in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You don't even have to wait
so
for
there is
it.
no distinctions, no boundaries. Earlier, every fried would be made on special occasions. Those kind of rules we've let go. But now we just look back and say those were wrong habits. They were not wrong because of the control, discipline of how they were followed actually.
So we have so much to talk about this. Let's quickly touch upon intermittent fasting and keto so that we can move on some reality checks in our podcast. So let's start with intermittent fasting. You know, there's a lot of taboo against intermittent fasting, and a lot of people do believe intermittent fasting as well, because if I talk about my mom or my grandmom, they would say कि भाई हर मील खानी है, ये क्या नया ड्रामा है कि नहीं खाना है, एक ही बार खाना है. But if I talk about my generation, they would believe blindly in intermittent fasting. So does it work? What is it actually?
So now for that you need to understand intermittent fasting is nothing new. It's just a new name given to a way of life. It's not a fad, that's one. I do not put it in the category of fads. Like keto, I would put it in the category of fad. Intermittent fasting is a lifestyle you decide to follow. What is intermittent fasting? Intermittent fasting means that you eat for a certain window and you do not eat for the rest of the window. Eating for 12 hours and not eating for 12 hours is also an intermittent kind of fasting. There are different kinds of intermittent fasting.
So you decide for yourself.
Yeah, you can't blanket say that it's bad or good for you. It's just not understood, like I said. Okay? No harm in doing it, but you have to do it right. You have to do it basis what works for you. Okay, let me explain both. By what I mean by doing it right. People think intermittent fasting is when they can choose their own hours. They start eating at 1 and then they probably eat till 12 and then next day morning they would eat at 1. Here they are breaking two cardinal rules. One, they are not eating according to their biological clock. They're not following the circadian rhythm. So they're messing their body at the base level. Second, what they don't understand is intermittent fasting is not a free pass, that in those hours you can eat anything, right? So that is a second mistake most people make. So if you want to do intermittent fasting, you have to follow the right hours, eat, like I say, follow the circadian rhythm. Very, very underrated, important feature that no one talks about today. Important to live with the sun. You have to consider your body as a solar powered machine. I keep saying that. The moment you understand that it's not just the calculator which works on solar power, your body also works like that. Your mindset shift will happen. So eat with the sun. You want to do it, eat early in the day and finish by 6 when the sun starts going down. I have no problems with that kind of intermittent fasting. It's not just the timing of the food people need to understand. It's also what you eat, which is important. So if you can balance both, then you can do it. Women, if I can give a little warning here, women especially, in fact all ages, I won't say middle age, I was going to say middle age, but all ages, women, even teenagers, intermittent fasting is not such a great idea in the long run. Using it as a tool can work because it might completely hamper their hormones, how the body functions. So if you do that, then whatever little gain you might be getting out of intermittent fasting is overridden by the harms that are happening in the long run in the body. So with men, fortunately, they can still handle intermittent fasting better, but with women, you have to be a little careful.
Right. Now, that was about intermittent fasting. Let's quickly touch upon keto as well. You know, it's a very aesthetic term these days. A lot of influencers following keto diets. It has become a status symbol as well for a lot of people, like keto diet only for the elitist. Right? So it's there all over the internet. Talk to me about that, because you have said it's a fad.
Yeah, because I personally feel that it's on its way out. I can see that. I can see the trends that keto is on the way out, because people have already done it for many years and people are now seeing the harmful effects. No one is really speaking about it too much, but I feel it's a matter of time before people start opening up. So I feel it is on the way out, which is a great thing. I've always been against it, because I again believe that it's again only a tool to be used with select few people under medical supervision only. It's not a sustainable diet. Let me just put it out there. It is not. So if it is not sustainable, if it's not a diet you can do for life, it has no place in your system, I just feel. Secondly, such high amount of fat our Indian bodies are not made for. Even if we are non-vegetarian, we are primarily vegetarian. Even a non-vegetarian, hardcore non-vegetarian would eat non-veg food maybe thrice or 4 times a week, or maybe 1 meal every day. I haven't seen anyone who eats both meals non-veg, right? So our bodies, our gut are designed for that. Suddenly, if you're a non-vegetarian, you pile on so much of fat and so much of non-veg onto your gut, and there is nil fiber, it packs. Even if you try, and if you try to do keto on a vegetarian diet, good luck to you. It's very, very tough. So personally, I'm happy that I do not have to demonize it anymore, because I think it's almost on its way out. People have newer toys to talk about.
So that was on keto. You know, I want to quickly touch upon, like while we were talking about how women should, research before doing intermittent fasting, and they should perhaps stay away a little from intermittent fasting, because they are developed differently, they are built differently. On that note, I would like to also come to exercise. How much exercise should we do? Because a lot of people are now indulging into, because exercising at the end of the day is also cool. It's beneficial for us, yes, but to what point? As far as if I take my example, because I know there were times when I tried to sort of, exercise a lot in a day, and I did suffer mentally, my mental health, hormonally I did suffer. So I want you to talk about that also, because over exercising is a thing also that people aren't realizing.
100%, and I'm so glad you've asked this, because I see this every time, every day. I mean, in my practice, I have these young girls coming who are suffering from PCOS, or who are on the cusp of getting it. You know, there is some hormonal upheaval happening, and young children, you know, and then eventually it is leading to mental issues. Solid chunk of my practice is these young children facing unexplained anxiety and mood issues and stuff. And fortunately, and I'm so happy to say that, we are able to fix it just with food and lifestyle. So before they go to pills, I mean, even if I can say so myself, go to an expert who can try and maybe fix your lifestyle and diet and solve your mind issues that could be developing. And it's both men and boys and girls. You know, a lot of these women, premenopausal, so many mental issues happening, you know, brain fog. They think there's something going wrong with them, but whereas it's their biology playing games with them, right? So everything is fixable through lifestyle and diet. Almost everything. So first, give that a try. We've had a lot of good, what should I say, case studies. I have this young child, she's 28. I mean, for me, she's a child, so I would say, suffering from extreme anxiety, so much so that she shifted out of Delhi and moved to Goa, just for this purpose, that she felt that maybe the city is causing her. At this age, what is the stress that you're facing, right? But there was severe anxiety, and because of that, the gut had gone. So there is this, you know, direct connect between the gut-brain axis. Either the gut goes first and then the mind goes, or the mind goes first, stress happens, and then the gut goes. Nothing was helping her. 3 months of lifestyle changes and exercise, and of course she was continuing with her therapy, full rewind, you know. But of course she has to continue those lifestyle changes. But coming back to, because they all related, which is why I pivoted to mind, and because I see this, and it really pains me to see these young children suffering from, so many issues which can be tackled. ADHD, everything can be tackled with food, unless it's too far gone, Coming to exercise, most of these young children, young girls, I tell them to ease up a bit on exercise, especially if they already have PCOD. Too much exercise in PCOD is counterproductive. People need to understand this. Your body is already stressed. Your hormones are already running on dry, right? They are already fighting. There is inflammation. If you add more physical stress to it, there's already mental stress happening. You can never heal. So you have to ease up a bit. Settle your body. Get your internal body climate in a place where you can reintroduce exercise. That doesn't mean that you become a couch potato, but you do different kinds of exercises, which are mind-body exercises. A lot of them are there, which are not so cool sounding, but walk helps. It's the only exercise that has enough data to tell us that it increases longevity. It's the best brain exercise. It's the best thing for your circulatory system. There are ways to walk right. I teach that also to my clients, so that it's not boring. People, because the moment I say you need to stop this and start walking, I get this long face. Because it's not cool, na? It's not cool sounding. Yoga helps, of course.
But now steps have become cool.
So
Now again
many
counting
things.
steps.
Yeah, so these are the things that actually help your body. You have to understand your exercise personality, your exercise, your body status to figure out what exercise will work for you. Over exercise, take my word for it, can lead to problems in women especially.
And also talk to me about men. For example, men 22 from 20 to 30 or 20 to 40, that age group. A lot of men, I do see them in gyms, over exercising their hearts out, right? So how much is that good for them? Because a lot of people, a lot of men I see around me are obsessed with muscles, ये ऊपर आना चाहिए, थोड़ा सा pump होना चाहिए, right? So they are very much obsessed with that. So talk to me about how much should they exercise also, because we've spoken about women, yes, but what about them?
So again, it is that problem of FOMO, fear of missing out. You're born with a certain body structure. You need to understand. You can only prop it up or prime it. You cannot change it completely. That is one thing people need to understand. The way you can't change your height, you cannot change your body structure. That is one thing. So the expectations should be tailored accordingly. Because when you have wrong expectations or tall expectations, then you are tempted to go the wrong way. Right? So that is the first step. Second thing is, gymming is good for us. I'm not a gym person, but that doesn't mean that no one should be gymming. If it works for you, please go, because it's a very happy me time for a lot of people. I have a friend who loves to gym, and because it's a happy space, it's the only me time she gets. Great for her. But it should be a combination of cardio and strength training, depending on what stage of life you're at. So your personal trainer needs to be educated. Your personal trainer needs to know what will work for you, not just a cookie cutter thing that he tells everyone to do. And you also should not be pushing your personal trainer to make you do stuff which is probably not right for you. Because I'm sure the personal trainers are also facing the same problem that doctors and we are facing. That you see something on the reel and you go and tell the trainer, I want to do that. Right? So you please keep some faith in your expert.
All right. Absolutely. Now let Kavita move on to the food industry lens. Let's talk about the role of industry also a bit in this. To start with, when we talk about packaged health foods, are they genuinely improving nutrition, or companies are just repackaging it in a smarter way that's appealing to us? That's one part of the question. And also when we talk about packaging, front and back labels, right? Like you spoke about those terms, low fat, high protein, right? No added sugar. So how to read between the lines?
Okay, so here a very straightforward rule that I tell everyone to follow. Make sure that 80% of your diet every day is home cooked. There is still a scope of 20% wherein you can eat something which is from outside, which is not really made at home. Try and do that as much as possible. There are days you could not, but at least keep that benchmark. Now for that 20%, because at home it's simple, you can control your ingredients, you can control your portion, you can control the quality. So your mainstay is taken care of. That rest 20% is for convenience. How much convenience do you need? You can't toss the ratio, right? You can't do 20% home cooked and 80%, which is what I see people doing, you know, outside food. So in that 20% also, there are ways to make educated choices. Read the labels, please. You know, do not just focus on what the brand is trying to communicate. Deduce your own understanding of the food. Okay? You are going to eat it, it's going to go inside your body. So if the brand is saying no sugar, no added sugar, it's your duty to read the label to see whether there is some other kind of artificial sweetener back there, or is it a high fat food? Because take it from me, if they make it no sugar, low carb, they will have to increase fat to make it palatable, because that's the only way to do it, right? No harm in still having it, if you know that you're not eating it as a health food. There is space for one. I hate this comparison of clean versus cheat, but still I would say there is scope for indulgence for everyone every day, but that indulgence also you can choose a little more carefully. So onus is on you. It's not the brand's job. It should be, but unfortunately it is not. Take every communication as a marketing communication, so take it with a pinch of salt.
And you know, I'm digressing a bit, because while we spoke about no added sugar, Diet Coke is the new thing. You know, people are obsessed with, and recently there was a shortage of Diet Coke in Bengaluru and people went mad about it, right? They came up with different strategies for the company to get back that on those apps.
Memes.
Yeah, right?
Also, so many memes and so many reels, everyone trying to. My social media team also told me, ma'am, make a reel on this. I'm like, no, enough. There's enough people talking about it.
Exactly. So talk to me about how good, like, Diet Coke is actually a Diet Coke, or?
So one, I do not like the word diet, which is why, you know, two of my books are called Don't Diet and the Don't Diet Plan, right? Because what does DIET means, diet? Diet means what you're eating, not what you're not eating. So one, people need to understand that concept a little better. See, when you restrict, it's a cycle. Restriction needs to cravings, cravings need to deficiencies, and that leads to guilt. Guilt leads to restriction, so it's like a cycle which you will never get out of, right? So if you want Coke, have Coke. Why should you compromise and have a Diet Coke? One, that is my thinking about it. Do not, in any case, having it every day is not a great idea, whether it is Coke or Diet Coke. Don't have the full thing, have half of it. But at least you know that you're having sugar. In Diet Coke, I do not know what you're having, right? You want to have Diet Coke, have it, but please have it keeping in mind that this is something which is not, like I said, don't have it like a health food. It's as bad as your, what are you cutting off? Just the calories, right? Nothing else.
Yeah, and it's a marketing strategy. I mean, it just reduces your guilt that you're having a Diet Coke and you can have as many as you want.
So instead of one, you'll probably have one every day.
Yeah.
That is a big problem. My issue is that. So my issue is that whatever you want to have, you should have it होशो हवास में. सोच समझ के कि हाँ मैं ये चीज़ खा रही हूँ तो मैं भी खुशी के लिए खा रही हूँ. Which is also equally important. Unpalatable diets are not sustainable, right? बट आप ये मान के खाओ पियो कि हाँ वो मेरे लिए अच्छा नहीं है, मेरे बोन्स के लिए अच्छा नहीं है, ठीक है कैलोरीज में नहीं है बट बोन्स के लिए तो अभी भी ख़राब है. उसके अंदर जो अल्टरनेटिव स्वीटनर डाला है वो मेरे ब्रेन के लिए शायद अच्छा नहीं है, तो आप उसको हेल्थ फूड मान के मत खाओ, यू विल बी फाइन. So make your decisions based on that.
Now while we are talking about, we digressed a bit, it was important though, but while we were talking about the food industry, we're also seeing a surge in food tech, a lot. You know, gut health startups, they have come up. biohacking diets, that's a new term that has come up, personalized nutrition apps, or personalized, step counting apps, like personalized apps that tell you how much steps should you do
Really? Is
per
there
day.
something
Yeah,
like
is there? There's an app.
Okay.
There was a survey that came to my Instagram and I started filling it. Of course, that wasn't free because last step mein paise mange mujhse, so I didn't go ahead. But there was an app where they ask about your lifestyle and they give you your step count for the day, that these are the steps. इतने आपको 10,000 चलने हैं, आपको 15,000 चलने हैं, आपका 8,000 से भी हो जाएगा. So these are the apps.
Which is so vague. How can you be sure that what recommendation he's giving you has any data or science or research behind it? So I don't understand that at all. I can also tell you, or a lay person can tell you कि अगर आप 10,000 नहीं चल सकते हो step, तो चलो 5,000 से शुरू कर लो. It's as simple as that. उसमें कोई problem नहीं है. So what is happening is that the brands, and here I mean both the tech and the food brands, are chasing a consumer they perceive. Just understand what I'm saying. They're not trying to make something that the consumer needs. They are making something based on their perception and then trying to sell it to the consumer. Eventually, in the long run, they're not going to work, right? It's important for brands to understand that transparency is the core principle that they cannot let go of. Exaggerated claims might mean a spike in the short-term sales, and we've seen that happening, but it almost always leads to long-term disgust. So going forward, I feel whether in tech, whether in biohacking, whether in functional nutrition, the brands which will eventually stay or do the long run, if they're in it for that, if they're in it for a short buck, that's a different story, are the ones that are 100% transparent, are educating instead of trying to give a quick fix, are trying to work on the habits of people and giving long-term health solutions rather than quick fixes, are not miscommunicating at all, and most importantly, which I've realized over these last 2-3 years, and you'll also see if you see how the market is evolving, because I consult with a lot of brands as well, and because I'm on both, I'm with the consumer because I practice, and I'm also working with the brands, which keep the traditional way of living or the food habits of people in mind. If they are able to combine these, that's a sure shot win for a brand in the long run. Very, very clear. Again, another problem with all these tech products is that they are thinking science, but they're not thinking translation. Most of these products are not translated into good products. Most of these ideas are science-based ideas. There's science research behind it, that this functional nutrient could help you. I agree with you. But by the time they translate it into a product, it's either diluted or they've had to add other nutrients which has diluted the benefit completely. So there is still a big challenge in taking science to the translation.
Yeah. So while we are talking so much and we've spoken a lot about how food products are marketed, the marketing gimmick, if you had the power to change one thing on how food products are marketed in India, what would you fix first?
What would I fix first? I would not market the product. I would start educating. I would educate the person about the category that I'm in. I would create awareness about what they could be doing wrong and what they should be doing right. I would not sell the product. I would sell the habit change. My product will fit in seamlessly there if it is a good product. You will get that advantage. There is no need, especially in food, to sell the product. There is need to sell the need of the product. And second, this is what I tell the brands. Look at the need of the gap which is there in the consumer's habit, right? Snacking, for example, right? They want the crunch, which is why the makhanas are doing so well. They are trying to replace the chips and doing a good job. Only thing is they have to work on their pricing a little because they are becoming so exorbitant that people are resorting back to chips. So there has to be a balance, right? So you have to fix that habit and create a product that fits there. Hydration is a category I see evolving hugely. I also see, for example, something as simple as snacking, makhanas. Now the only negative that the flack it is facing it that it's just a carb, high carb snack, right? So if a brand, for example, can combine it with high protein, a simple pack of makhana and roasted chana together. Just imagine what kind of advantage that brand could get. Flavored sattu with functional foods in it, functional ingredients in it, buttermilk with functional ingredients in it. Things like these, savory breakfast categories. We are a nation which likes to eat a warm, savory breakfast in the morning, unless you're on a diet which makes you eat things like smoothie or whatever, but you'll do it for a short term. So if you can create a poha which has protein as well. I have a carousel which went viral because I told people how they can make their poha. People love poha, but there are people telling them don't eat it. How they can make their poha high protein. People went crazy. So if a brand can create a product which is poha, which is high protein, minus just going the lazy way and adding whey to it because it will spoil the taste. So if they can figure that out, or a upma dal combination which has a certain amount of protein. So these are the categories that I feel that brand needs to figure out the habits and work on those instead of trying to create a new habit.
Absolutely. Now, I'll move on to a segment which I love calling the honest truths. We have discussed a lot about the perfect diet and everything, and now in this segment we'll just summarize everything, So we spoke about perfect diet. Is there such a thing called perfect diet, or is it just a myth that we are chasing? No diet is a perfect diet.
No diet is a perfect diet. You could be eating very well today and you could not be eating that good tomorrow, which is fine. Your body adapts. Your body is such an intelligent machine. And also, there is no ideal diet, and I'm okay with that. Ideal diet is based on your requirements, your body's requirement, your taste, like I said, your state, whether you're deficient in something or you have excess of something. So an ideal diet is different for every single individual. There are 5 people in this room. Ideal diet for each one of us would be different.
What's that one uncomfortable truth about nutrition that people don't like hearing, but they perhaps need to? So as a nutritionist, you deal with a lot of people. What is that uncomfortable truth? They don't believe it in the first go.
Yeah, I'll tell you. People think that food can fix it all. In fact, my book, Fix It With Food, says that. But the fact is, it's not as easy as that. It is a holistic thing. Your body is made up of a whole lot of things, not just your digestive system. So your sleep, your exercise, your mind status, your stress levels, everything has a say. So while you fix the food, you need to work on all of these alongside. So there are these 4-5 pillars you need to work on together.
All right. So just practical reset, a few steps for the viewers that are listening to us. If they are listening to us right now and they feel completely lost, what's the simplest way for them to sort of reset their eating habits starting tomorrow? What's the simplest thing they can start with?
Simplest thing is, don't try to change everything together, right? Work on your habits. Do not fall for fads. Run as far away as possible the moment you realize it's a fad. Look up the definition of fad. The dictionary has defined it beautifully. I will not waste time explaining it, but a fad is to be avoided. Try and get, I tell everyone, try and get your lifestyle and your diet audited by an expert. See, you need to outsource some of the things, right? I outsourced my taxes, right? Similarly, don't try to do it all yourself. You don't have to go on a structured plan with someone, but at least get it audited. The way you get your body tested, yearly, I hope you do, get your diet audited to figure out the gaps. So once that audit is there, then you can fix whatever is lacking. Protein is lacking, fiber is lacking, Fiber, by the way, is the next
Next.
big thing.
Yeah.
Your next decade, next 5 years,
Yeah.
protein will stay, but your fiber is going to rule your social media and the
Yeah,
brands.
yeah, and probably that's going to be the topic for our next podcast whenever we meet. No confusion framework for eating well in India, like something realistic, not idealistic, because a lot of people give idealistic frameworks, but realistic for the Indian diet, for Indian people.
The rule that I mentioned, 80-20, some days it could be 70-30, 80% home cooked, 20% outside food, permissible every single day, 70-60. 70-30 is also great. Do not try to become a vegetarian if you're already a non-vegetarian. If you're a vegetarian, stay happy, but make sure that take a little extra care about protein, B12, choline, vitamin D. So focus on these nutrients if you're a vegetarian. If you are a non-vegetarian, you could probably do like 70% veg and 30% non-veg food. I tell this to everyone. Or 60-40, simple. Prop up the protein a bit. Why I'm making this blanket statement is because I see most diets are protein deficient. Just that adding that one scoop is probably not helping you. You know, you need to make sure that you eat a diet that has food sources of protein. Stick to familiar food, food that you're already familiar with. But at the same time, keep your palate open for a little adventure, because it's nice to keep giving new foods to the gut. Variety is what makes your gut kick. Really, that's the important thing. So keep trying new things and see what works for you and what doesn't work for you. Focus on hydration. A lot of times cravings are sorted in my clients just by fixing their hydration. Just let that sink in. No other change required. Just fix their hydration, how much water they're drinking. People who are forever craving through the day, the cravings start going down. So which is such an easy fix for people to do. Stick to your regular food that you've been eating and you'll be fine.
All right, so before we end this conversation, Kavita, personally, what does a normal day of eating look like for you? Like no filters and no nutritionist perfection.
Yeah, no. I'm not perfect. No one is perfect. Yeah. I'm careful. I'm hardwired in a way. Probably that is why I chose nutrition, because I learned nutrition growing up from my mom. Like that's what I say always, because that's how she did it. Somehow did it at home. So my day is very, very standard. I'm a huge breakfast person, which is why I'm not such an advocate of intermittent. I love breakfast personally. I love to have my eggs. You know, sometimes it's poha and eggs, sometimes it's just eggs and maybe a toast or something. Not a huge fan of the regular breads that I do remove from a lot of my clients' diet. And because I'm lactose intolerant, so I don't do milk, but I sometimes do a plant milk. Okay, I love nuts. Love nuts. I rotate nuts and eat. So I begin with almonds. I have pistachios, a handful every single day, because that's extra protein for me. That not many people know pistachios are extremely high protein, right? And I end my day with some walnuts or pistachios if I've not had them through the day. Sometimes I also try, because I work with them also, I try a few newer nuts also, macadamia, pecans, everything. Rotation, again, like I said, it's important. I have 2 fruits a day. And again I rotate because I love them all. Often there are times when I rushed and I miss them and I hate those days. I understand that there is something missing in my day, right? So fruits are very, very important for me. Lunch is my regular dal chawal. I eat roti. I love roti. I love rice. I have that. Dal chawal, whatever. I'm not such a huge fan of non-vegetarian foods. I'm an egg eater mostly, but I do still make it a point to eat at least twice a week. For me, it's more like for the sake of eating. And a lot of water. I do chia seeds water through the day, gives me energy. I do soft water in the second half of the day because coffee doesn't work for me after 2. So I have soft water, which gives me, by the way, if you're trying to get off coffee, if you're having too much of it, 2 cups is great, but if you're having more than that, then soft water is a brilliant hack. It gives you slow release energy and keeps your mood upbeat. So those 3 p.m. crashes, you can, get rid of those. I sleep early. I walk at least for an hour every day. I'm not a gym person, which I already mentioned. So I walk every day. I do stretching. So that's what a regular boring day I have.
All right, well, thank you so much, Kavita, for such interesting insights. And we have still a lot left to uncover, probably some other day when some new trend comes into the market. We're going to decode that. But right now, I have a team who have they literally have a lot of questions to ask. They are supremely excited. Just behind the camera is my team. So if any one of you have any questions, please let me know.
Hi, I'm Shehaj Kaul. So I have a question regarding the intake of ghee as you were talking about. I think some people like to make it at home. Like my mom makes it at home. She tries to, yeah. But because she makes it at home, she thinks it's very healthy. So she puts it a lot of times in a lot of food. So is it healthy if we make it at home and we can take it, like consume it more if we make it from home? So is it better than
So
the
when you
market
make
one?
it at home, wonderful. Please give give her a pattern on the back from my side. Making it at home controls the quality, 100%. But then of course the source has to be right. Your milk has to be of good quality as well. Then your ghee is good. That is a great thing to do, but not everyone can make it at home. So when you can't make it at home, for other people I'm just saying you can just source right. Make sure that you source your food. Do not compromise on the source of the food at all. I tell everyone, right? I explained earlier, too much of ghee would also not be great for you, right? But at the same time, I think everyone, especially girls, need to have at least 2 teaspoons of ghee every single day. It's a simple thing. I'll tell you, the roti earlier, our grandmoms used to say कि सूखी रोटी खाना ही नहीं है. What is the science behind it? The moment you put ghee on it, or you put ghee in the rice, the reel that I've made, its glycemic index goes down. So that roti is going to be less harmful for you. So this generation needs to be told logic. And then they agree.
And she has clearly understood the logic. So we have an experiment right here. Anyone else? Yeah.
Hello, ma'am. Laksh this side. It might be a bit too late for me, but I still want to understand that hair fall is a big issue in India. So, what nutritions or what fibers, what carbohydrates should a person take to make sure that hair fall does not come as quickly as it came in my life?
And firstly, is this a health issue? Is this a lifestyle issue? Or is this the environment issue?
Very complicated. It's the most complicated thing, I'll tell you here. So because a lot of times, in 80% of people, it's genetic as well. There is a diet that can definitely make sure that your hair quality and the growth can be better. And internal works better than external. So applications can help, but to a certain extent. But changing your diet, making sure that all the hair nutrients that the body needs are there in your diet, 100% helps. But it's a very slow process. But at the same time, the supplements also only do so much, right? So your best bet for someone who wants good hair is to change your diet. I do unfortunately get a lot of these young children who come to me for hair and skin diet, which is a good sign that they're taking it seriously. Just tell me something. How many of you here know that this hair shaft, what is it made of?
Protein.
Protein. Keratin is a protein. So protein deficiency is the most common cause that I've seen for hair fall. And people don't make that connect because biotin is overhyped. So protein, the moment you fix the protein in your diet, your hair also starts getting better. Similarly, there are a few other nutrients that helps. So changing the diet 100% helps, but it takes time.
Also, you talked about Diet Coke, and as someone who loves Diet Coke and Coke Zero, how much would you advise to take in a week? Because it happens that there are weeks that I won't take a single can, but then again there are days that I'll drink two or three cans in a day. So how much would you advise?
First of all, nobody is advising you to drink Diet Coke, right?
I will say so. I will say so. So my advice would be 0. Literally 0. See your question, just rewind your question. There are days when you said when you can't stop before 3. They're engineered to be addictive. As simple as that.
But I have found Diet Coke as a substitute for my coffee because I'm not allowed to have coffee anymore. And I used to have a decent amount of coffee, around 4 to 5 cups a day. So I have found a Diet Coke as a substitute of that.
See, coffee is great for us. 2 cups of coffee is very good for us. You can take it up to 3. I don't mind. At least it's doing something good to you. There are antioxidants going there, building health. Diet Coke or any other Coke is only eroding health. So the choice is very black and white here, okay? If you do want to cut coffee, because too much of a good food is also bad for us, and my cap is 3 cups a day for anyone, My son doesn't listen, but maybe he hears me here. So the point is that it's the habit change that you need to break. So instead of trying to replace it with something that is worse, I would say, not even equally bad, definitely not better, does not work. So from 5 cups, you need to probably come down to 3 cups, okay? But in that interim period where you're trying to make that switch, probably a good idea to switch to something that helps you, maybe like green tea, maybe like soft water, maybe, because it's a habit you have to understand that you have to break. आपको आदत है बस वहाँ पे उस वक्त कुछ पीने की, और वो जो withdrawal है ना कॉफ़ी का, that is a killer. तो वो 2 weeks तो लगेगा ही लगेगा.
Yeah. Any more questions?
Hello, ma'am. Aman this side. I have this question: how can an individual correct the negative effects of dirty bulking, especially excess abdominal fat, while maintaining less muscle mass?
Yeah, so basically cut down the fat and increase the muscle, right? Yeah, so the only way to do it is to not do starvation diets. Because when you go on a starvation diet, you do not lose weight at all. You do not lose fat, by the way. You might lose weight, but you will not lose fat. You will lose your muscle. Don't cut down food. Never cut down food. Always replace. So instead of the wrong foods, do the right foods there. For example, अगर आप 4 बजे गलत snack खाते हो, तो don't try to not eat at that time. Put a healthier snack there. और अपने मैक्रोस चेंज करोगे. आप कार्ब्स को हल्का सा कम करोगे, प्रोटीन को थोड़ा सा बढ़ाओगे, फाइबर को बढ़ाओगे. That is the way to preserve your muscle mass. And you need to exercise, because जो चीज़ use नहीं करेंगे वो खत्म हो जाएगी.
Any more questions?
Ma'am, I had this question, like this is something regarding to the menstrual cycle. For girls like me, and I have some friends and my sisters who are actually going through this, whenever we have our menstrual cycle, our appetite actually drops a lot. We don't eat properly. We sometimes skip 2 meals because we can't eat, we can't sustain anything. So otherwise we vomit, it doesn't suit us well. So what is the good diet for us? What we need to take basically just to balance our like food and our proteins and everything, because that time our body gets very weak and we can't digest anything. So I want to know what we can eat basically.
Yeah, so what happens is during the cycle, the hormones are placed in a way, or they're functioning in a way that your gut takes a hit, right? So 2 things happen. There are 2 kinds of girls that I see in my patients also. One is your category, who cannot eat because they're feeling nauseous, they're feeling uncomfortable, their gut is really bothering them. And then there is a second category where the cravings skyrocket and they're eating all the wrong foods, and then they're feeling uncomfortable, because either ways it's not good for the gut, right, and not good for the body. So the best thing to do is to prepare your body at least a couple of days before the cycle by starting to eat easily digestible food, so that you give your gut a little rest, and continue to eat very easy to digest food in those 3 days or 5 days.
Like what kind of a food we can eat, like what digestible
If I'll
food?
say khichdi, you'll kill me, right? But simple, whatever घर का खाना you think you can have, जो कि fried ना हो, जिसको digest करने में body को problem ना हो. अगर आपको राजमा चावल पसंद है पर घर के बने हुए पसंद है तो वो खा लोगे आप, ठीक है? Instead of trying to maybe do like पूड़ी आलू or fried stuff or things like that, or worse, पूड़ी आलू तो फिर भी खा लोगे. Ordering in, because already आपकी body, it's like your body is at that time under an assault. आप ये मान के चलो, उसमें आप अगर additives का तड़का डाल दोगे, preservatives, additives, fried food, poor quality ingredients, जो कि आप 100% जो आप बाहर से मंगाओगे वो ऐसा ही खाना होएगा, whether you like it or not, चाहे टेस्टी होगा बट ऐसा ही होगा. तो आप सोचो क्या होएगा बॉडी का हाल. तो उस वक्त हाइड्रेशन और दूसरा ये स्मॉल पोर्शंस, ओके, एंड इजीली डाइजेस्टेबल फूड, वो खाओगे तो यूल बी फाइन. उसके लिए प्रिपेयर करो बॉडी को 1-2 महीने के लिए ना, पहले से 3 दिन का मेन्यू बना के रखो. यू डू दैट फॉर 3 months. बाय द टाइम आपका हैबिट चेंज हो जाएगा, आपको डिफरेंस पता चलेगा कि सही खाने से those 5 days are very easy to pass, unless there is an issue in the body, PCOD हो रहा है या कुछ हो रहा है, because उसकी अलग डाइट होती है, उसको अलग तरीके से फिक्स किया जाता है.
All right, that's it. Well, thank you so much, Kavita, for being a part and clearing a lot of fog for us. And maybe you've realized after the conversation the problem isn't that we don't know enough. The problem, I think, is that we are hearing too much, and we've completely lost trust on what has actually worked for us, right? And we are just trying to be more cool, more aesthetic. So at the end of the day, real food,
Real
simple
food.
food.
Trust your gut, trust your instincts. Look at the food. Your body and your mind will tell you, but at least look at it clearly instead of looking at the screen.
Yeah. And just on that note, I would like to end my podcast. Thank you so much for being a part of this session. And to our viewers, stay tuned for many more such interesting conversations only at ET Health World. We'll be back with another episode.